Governor Mikie Sherrill outlined a record $60.7 billion budget proposal Tuesday in Trenton, even as the state is facing a multi-billion-dollar structural deficit and a shrinking surplus. So how does the governor intend to rein in spending while still expanding services? She joins us now to talk it through as part of our Under the Dome series. Governor Sherrill, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being with us. $60.7 billion. You've talked about the deficit that the state is facing. It was $3 billion. You've knocked it down to, I believe, $1.6 billion. You say it's the most structurally sound budget that the state's seen in a while. Why not get to a zero budget deficit? Why not?
I would love to, but what we've done with this budget is to account for some of the cuts that we're seeing from the federal government, over $1 billion in cuts, making sure that we're presenting the most fiscally responsible budget this state has seen in years. We have the structural deficit. We've cut $2 billion in spending. We still fund our pension debt, and at the same time, we don't raise individual taxes on anyone. In fact, over the past 8 years, we've seen our budget go up on average by 6.8%. This budget only goes up 1.6%. That's actually under inflation. So really focusing on driving down costs for people here in New Jersey.
How do you see, obviously you're just getting, a hold of the first budget. But I wonder if you've projected forward. The way that I see it, you've extended the surplus now maybe 3.5 years based on the spending, if nothing increases next year. Is this something where you intend at some point to increase that surplus, or is staying flat here the goal?
Well, in the near term, what I want to make sure we do, this is, I've seen this as sort of a 2-year budget to start with. So in the next year, I'd like to see us get to no structural deficit. And then we can talk about getting a surplus, because in that way we can have the ability to loan out money for building housing that people can afford and different programs. Sometimes there's matching funds that we can unlock federal dollars if we have state dollars to spend. Right now, we're just kind of captive to these bad spending decisions that have been made historically. As I said in my budget address, if we had just paid our bills over the past 30 years, instead of spending $7 billion a year on this pension debt, we'd only be paying $1 billion.
I have to ask you about that. Your speech in some ways felt like a reprimand to this legislature that passed budgets under the Murphy administration. Some of them at various points, including the leadership, the Assembly and Senate leadership, didn't seem too thrilled with some of the things you were proposing. Did you discuss your plans to trim back, especially when it comes to Stay NJ, a property tax rebate program for seniors? Did you discuss that with them in advance?
I reached out, or my team reached out. We have touched base with every single member of the Senate and Legislature. We were discussing what their focus was, and what I heard from them was a real desire to get a hold of this budget. Like I said, so many of the decisions have been made over decades. We didn't get to this point in one session alone. So I have heard from people who've proposed different ways of moving forward for years, and I think many members of our Senate and our Assembly are really excited to move forward in a way that is going to invest in the future.
Do you think they share your vision for where to cut?
I think some do, and when they don't, I said, come to me. If you think we've made some bad decisions, then tell me where we've made the bad decisions, but also tell me how we are going to continue to drive down cost.
I have to ask you, you also in many ways took aim at the business community, focused largely on big business in this state. You want to see more contributions to health insurance. You want to end the alternative business calculation. But some from the business community say, don't ask business to balance the budget of the state. It's just driving them out. Do you disagree with that?
I certainly believe deeply in businesses, and I think sometimes Trenton hasn't really appreciated how important our businesses are. And so, no, I didn't take aim at them. In fact, my Save You Time and Money agenda was built on the things I've been hearing for over a year now from the business community, how hard permitting and regulatory requirements are for them, how, they go from the Department of Transportation to the Department of Environmental Protection and see different regulations and rules and have a really difficult time. They don't know how long a permit's going to take. So we built the permitting dashboard. We've cut down on the registration fees. What I've also done, though, is some of our tax programs were meant to help small businesses. And because the federal tax plan has changed, they were suddenly opened up to a lot of different businesses. So what we've done is close some of those loopholes so they really can focus on that diner or the mechanic down the street or our small businesses, which are really the lifeblood of our communities.
Just finally, youth mental health is a big focus for you. You're going to put some dollars behind that, really looking at youth safety online. That seemed to get a lot of bipartisan support. Do you think that that's going to be an area where you can move legislation?
Every parent knows that we are failing our kids when it comes to social media, and the devastating impacts are seen throughout our communities. This is so key, and government has failed here, the federal government, but New Jersey, we are going to take strong steps to protect our kids. And we have been contacting people across the country who have innovative programs. I want New Jersey to be a leader in this space. It's why we're setting up the Social Media Observatory, because big tech has canceled any studies because they know how bad it is. We are going to do our studies, and we are going to protect our kids and give parents the resources that they need to better understand this.
With the development of a research center that you intend to roll out?
Exactly.
All right, we got to leave it there. But Governor Mikie Sherrill, thank you so much for the time today.
Thank you.
Under the Dome is made possible in part by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.